Ah, such a nimble little mouse. Are you finished?
ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Bandai Godzilla Super Decisive Battle Mini Battle G5 Godzilla vs. Zilla. From the insane movie, Godzilla Final Wars. So up first, we're going to take a look at this box because this box is pretty damn cool looking. Godzilla Final Wars, Godzilla since 1954, Godzilla Super Decisive Battle, Battle 5, Godzilla vs. Zilla. Look at that. I would love if Bandai brought this style of packaging back for their tiny figures. I mean, these are essentially Shokugan, so Bandai could do it, but let's be honest with ourselves, they won't. And on this side of the Sweet Pippy, we get a look at the other figures in this line. King Ghidorah vs. Mothra, Godzilla vs. Biollante Rose form, Godzilla vs. Batron. My god, look at his face. Looks like his face got sat on in not the good way. And we have good old GMK boy and good boy Baragon. Here we have the back of the box, taking a closer look at the two figures, given some stats of which... Okay, now we're done. It's like a Godzilla battle at Weenie Hut Juniors. They're just so small. Taking a look at Final Goji, I mean, we've gotten this figure how many times now? I mean, I have 3 copies of this guy, and he's mostly the same. The eyes are yellow, the teeth are yellow, the tongue is blood red. The dorsal fins are very, very nice looking. And just overall, you know, this is a nice looking little minifigure. And the best part is he really doesn't differ from future releases. As shown here. This is from the Shokugan set Volume 2. This is from the Shokugan set that came out in 2014. And this guy is from the set we're talking about today. I think the only major differences between these 3 figures might just be the paint for the eyes and the teeth, dependent on quality and maybe shade. Shokugan set Volume 2 Final Goji has some lighter looking teeth. Eyes-wise, this guy is a bit on the wonky side. Meanwhile, Shokugan 2014 Final Goji has some darker teeth and his pupils are a little bit more aligned. This guy will be sporting that very same teeth paint, but his pupils will be much more centered. But they're also a hell of a lot bigger. Jeez, I'm crow. Other than all that, these are pretty much the same. We all know Bandai are the kings of detail at a cheap price. Yes, we do. And we all know when they paint stuff, it looks great. I mean, hey, look at that. They didn't even paint all the way to the tip of the tail. You liars. Thankfully, that's mostly present on all of these. And yeah, I really don't have any complaints, but enough of this shlomo. Let's take a look at Zilla. The details on Zilla are rather nice, but I will admit they do pale in comparison to other Godzilla 1998/Zilla figures. Though I love the shade of metallic blue they used for his dorsal fins, though. Oh yes. Not painted all the way to the tip of the tail. Sad, sad, tear, tear, all the time. But it is nice and certainly effective. I think Bandai did a pretty good job with Zilla's head over here. It's angular and shoeboxy. He's got that Jay Leno chin. They didn't bother with pupils, so he's just got these 2 yellowish orange eyes glowing from either side of his head, which is nice. The teeth are nicely painted, and there's even going to be some detail on the inside of the mouth. And just look at all this. This is very, very, very well done. I gotta give it to you, Bandai. Certainly would be super awesome to see this in the 6-inch scale for the movie monster series. Vote, 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 vote. Zilla Squad, rise up. Even got some nice premium details on the inside of his hands. And he's got that nubby little 5th finger on both of his hands. You know, that sole finger that Trendmasters included on their prototypes for Godzilla 1998, and Toho almost took the rights away from them because of that. And yet here it is. Moving a little bit further down, we can see feet. Look at those feet. They're nice feet. And probably the poorest looking thing on this figure is, the genitalia, I guess. Looks rather last minute, but I'm not going to sit here commenting on Zilla's junk. Minimally painted, beautifully detailed, this is a very, very nice figure, yes. I think these 2 lovely gents over here are worthy of 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detail. But before we move on, how does Zilla over here compare to Bandai's very own Godzilla 1998 figure? Let's find out. Well, first off, Zilla is much smaller than Godzilla 1998. And I'd feel pretty comfortable in saying that these are two different molds Bandai made up. Everything from the Goji junk to the torso to the pectorals to even the neck, it's similar, but it's not exactly spot on. Originally, I thought Bandai probably just shrunk this mold down and turned it into this. And in some areas, I imagine this is exactly what that looks like, but the closer you look at the head and neck, you can definitely tell two different figures. Be it the spikes on those pepperoni-looking cheeks, or even the teeth, or just the detailing on the neck leading into the torso. Yeah, very much different. The dorsal fins remained about the same though, as did some peculiar bits of skin details. But yeah, for the most part, wholly different. And there's just absolutely zero comparison here between the Bandai and Yutaka Real Heroes Godzilla 1998. So, before I forget, because I already did, one cool thing about this little set is that they are both in scale with one another. At least I think this is the closest to in scale as you could possibly get with these things. Nifty, Bandai. Really nifty. And like I said with the Yutaka Real Heroes Godzilla 1998 figure, there is absolutely zero similarities between these two, despite both being made by Bandai. And the same thing could be said for this here Godzilla 1998, the Best of Godzilla Gachapon candy toy figure thingamabob. It's time for Articulation! See you back here in a couple seconds. Final Goji will have nothing at the head, a swivel at the tail, back and forth movement at the arms. They could probably go all the way around, but I ain't pushing it. On both sides. The legs can go all the way around, just like that. And that's pretty much it. And you'll essentially be getting the same amount of articulation with Zilla, nothing at the head, full rotation at both of the arms and both of the legs. And then you'll get a swivel at the tail, and it almost feels like the tail wants to, like, fall off whenever you do that, but it remains on regardless. A solid star for each in terms of articulation, making this lovely little box set a high recommendation of 3 solid stars. Not only that, it smells like chlorine and fresh vinyl had a child. That's comparison time. Man, getting this set has been a pain in my keister for the longest of times because these tiny little things would command such ridiculous prices on eBay for the most part. Whenever they were cheaper, I always missed out on them. Thankfully, Mandarake had my back and I was able to acquire this for 1,500 yen before shipping, which equates to about this in USD. I definitely feel I got my money's worth, and essentially I really only bought this set for one figure, and it was Zilla, because this is now the 3rd Final Goji I own, as you've seen, yada yada. Really wouldn't mind if Bandai went about reissuing these for the modern day, because, I don't know, just a tiny little box set with 2 minifigures in it, it feels super duper worth it. Even if most of them end up being reissues, I'd play into it for sure. Yeah, $11 before shipping, all for this little squirt right here. Again, I feel I got my money's worth. Finally, I have this little friggin' thing. And hopefully we'll have another one of these in a bigger format towards the end of the year. Vote, 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 vote. Zilla Squad, rise up. Anyway, I have been ShinRobjira. I do so hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, social media, Patreon, $1 a month, the whole 9 yards, y'all already know it. And when next we meet, I have no idea what I'm talking about because I'm recording all of this weeks in advance and entirely out of order. See you next time. Peace.